Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to our Catalyst session. This will be the last dedicated logistics session ahead of DTW, but we will be having another joint session next Wednesday. Now, just a few housekeepings as per usual. This session will be recorded and it will be posted by tomorrow alongside the slides. And if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type them up or to maybe click on the hand button on this GoToWebinar console. And at the end of the session, I'll be able to go through any questions that you might have. Now, just as a reminder, you do have all of the Catalyst information through either this link or also if you visit your conference space on your homepage. On the left-hand side corner, you have the navigation bar and there's a direct link to all of these resources. It's really informative for you to perhaps go back to now that you're starting to achieve some of the items on the project plan, or maybe there's something you need to cover with the team. Also, if you've been using CurateFX, but you will now be preparing ahead of the award or ahead of the show, there is still also the CurateFX webinar that you can register and listen on and watch on demand too. Now, we've added a dedicated Catalyst Award section to the information page. So we had gone through the categories at Action Week, but the information pack and the submission pack is now available for the teams to go and download ahead of next week's deadline. There's a few things, if you were with us last year, that are slightly different that I would just like to point out. So one of them is that you will have the Catalyst Award and Information Pack, as you can see here, a screenshot and the submission form. So you can just download that particular information pack, read through it, and at the end of that document is actually the submission form that you and your team will need to fill and return to us in order to review the awards that you'd like to apply to. Now, one of the awards actually has a separate information pack and submission guidelines, and that's the presentation that's attached next to that particular information deck. So if you visit this page, make sure that you download both, go through both of the submission packs and ensure that when you're submitting these to us, you are including everything that's required. Now, just as a reminder, we will be having 7 awards that we'll be giving out through this cycle. Now, 6 of them will be awarded during the show in Nice, and one of the awards will be awarded post the show. And this is something different that we changed since last year that I'll go into a little bit more detail. So the awards that we'll have at the show will be the Outstanding Catalyst for Business Impact, the Outstanding Catalyst for Innovation. We have a new award called the Best New Catalyst in Show, and this gives the opportunity for phase 1 projects who've only been working for the past few months to have the opportunity to grab one of the awards at the show. Now, if you are a project that's built on from a previous phase, your title on the show will show phase 2, and you won't be able to apply to this particular award. Then we have the outstanding use of the TM Forum assets, and we also will have the outstanding contribution to TM Forum assets. Now, this is a change, and this will be the award that will be given post the show. And the reason for that is that usually it takes the teams a little while to really contribute that asset back to the forum. So Sheng Fenhu from our team should have reached out to all of the project leaders with information on how you can apply to this particular award. You will still need to detail in a very high level what are the assets that you intended to contribute, but the team will actually have up to 6 weeks after the show to work on completing the assets and to submit those via the appropriate official channels to the forum, and those will be reviewed by our member community. And that award will be given later on at the Action Week in Dallas. Now, even though they were awarding this award because the show, as I mentioned, Shengfen should have reached out to you and he should have helped you starting to understand that new process and helped you guide you and your team through those contributions even before the show. So if you actually are looking to apply for this particular award and you haven't spoken to Shengfen, do feel free to reach out to him and do feel free to start engaging so that you can start working on this particular contribution as soon as possible. Then we'll have the outstanding CurateFX ecosystem design. Now, for those of you that perhaps up to now you still haven't used CurateFX, this might not be a suitable award for you to start focusing on. The CurateFX, it is an ecosystem design. It is a tool that's best used for the Catalyst teams when you're at the start of your project and continuously through the modeling of that cycle. And if you do have any questions, Kevin McCarthy will be the best person to reach out to. He will be able to help you with any CurateFX questions or with any questions regarding the award and the judging on those. Now, if anyone from your team you would like to still sign them up to CurateFX for any edits, you will still need to come through to me for us to grant you that access. And if by all means you would like to work on your model now, perhaps you're a phase 1 and you actually would like to make use of the tool as in to continue to your phase 2, then do feel free to also reach out to me. We can create you that model still and we can still give you access as part of your Catalyst. And then for this cycle, we usually have a guest award, and this year's guest award is the Outstanding Catalyst Depicting Business Assurance Awareness. And this was covered at the Action Week in high level. We are now do have the submission form for the teams to start looking, now that you're actually starting to be very near completing the work for your Catalyst. Over the next few days, both for the contribution for the TM Forum Assets and both for the Business Assurance Awareness Award, we will be creating an on-demand quick guide webinar so that you can watch with your team and to share to anyone that will be completing these information packs for your particular Catalyst. So with that, we're going to move on just as a reminder. Obviously, the teams really now should be looking towards the event, those dry runs, starting to make sure that the team is ready, speaking to your marketing leads and see where they are at and what else do they need to be done ahead of the show. We are 2 weeks away, just a few days from being in Nice, so you really need to start looking at that readiness for being prepared at the show. Now, we usually go through the opening times. We've done it quite a few times, so I won't be going through the information in detail, but I just want to remind the teams of a new feature for the show that's quite beneficial to you, but for you as a project leader and when you are scheduling your team and also preparing your team ahead of the event is quite important to take into account. So we have a new feature called the Expo Takeover, which will happen on Wednesday between 2 until 1:30. And essentially what it means is that the expo floor will be very busy at this time. And that's due that we have decided as TM Forum not to run any key conferences at that time, just to give the chance for the attendees to really come and experience the expo show floor. For you as Catalyst, this is great news. This will mean there will be a time, a little bit like the lunches and the breaks, where people will have dedicated time to come and have demos with you. It's a whole hour and a half, which means that you can really go in depth with anyone that really wishes to be taken through your user story. Now, what you need to take into account, my suggestion would be, rather than just having the 2 or 3 staff or team members per Catalyst kiosk, I'll actually advise to maybe have 1 or 2 extra just at hand. So if you do see a lot of interest, you do have someone to be doing one-to-one conversations. If your team is already busy, perhaps doing more in-depth presentations with attendees, it should be quite a high energy and quite busy period. So just make sure that your team is aware so that they can support you and anyone at that time for those demos. And that's just a reminder, we do have the Catalyst Action Day. We will be reaching out to you later on this week just to understand if your team will have representation and how many team members are planning to attend. Now, this is quite important for you to provide feedback. The teams are different in size, so we do try to allocate the meeting rooms and the tables that we have available according to the feedback that the teams give us. Now, if you do go and visit your Confluence page, you actually have a digital transformation world attendance sheet. So especially for the teams that are a little bit larger, you might have a lot of folk participating on the calls and working, but they might not necessarily reflect on those attending the show. So if you haven't started using that tool yet, it's a great idea to share it with your team and just to say for them to add their names, numbers, and availability into that page. Something that you can do is you can add a row and also ask the teams who will be staying for action, Catalyst Action Day. And do remember, this is quite helpful time to get together with your team to do that download, to really go through a retrospective of what worked or what didn't work, and especially for those of you that perhaps are doing a phase 2 or that perhaps went through quite a lot of content, it will really give you a beneficial face-to-face time that you might not have had otherwise. So do make sure that you're flagging these with your team and that you are getting those items covered. Now, as a reminder, you do have the project plan, and I know that I mention these every single time, but we are getting very near to the show, and there's quite a lot of deliverables over the next 2 weeks. So do make sure that you are going through those, and especially with your marketing lead. There's quite a few of marketing related items that are quite time sensitive between now and then, and just make sure that they don't get dropped. It's quite easy to do so as we're getting so near to the event and you'll be busy doing those presentations. So just make sure that you're really going through. One of the things that I would like to point out on this call that we also covered on the last week's marketing webinar is that your Catalyst virtual show bag needs to be ready by the timeline that we've provided to your teams on the project plan. After the show, anyone that you scanned with your scanner will be sent a Catalyst virtual show bag shall you have added any content. Now, just the way that our systems are set up, we just do a push through for all of the teams at the same time for all of the show bags to be sent. And what we had in previous years is that some of the catalysts were delayed in uploading that content, which meant that our team was also delayed in sending all of the catalyst virtual show bags. This year, due to the delay starting to get slightly longer and longer, our team has decided that if you do not upload by that time, giving us time to create your show bag, if you upload any information past that point, we will not be able to add or to send your show bag, as not to delay the overall teams that actually might have sent us their content on time. So with that, I'm really going to cover today's topic. So just as a reminder, this is your Catalyst kiosk. This is what we get. You'll get 2 screens, 2 wired connections. There will be general Wi-Fi available, and you'll have your lead scanner. There's still some storage underneath the locker. That's really just for the day. If you do have anything of value that needs to be stored, please either take it away with you at the end of the day or ask our team to put it on storage for you overnight. And with that, today we're really going to cover the Catalyst areas at the show. For those of you that haven't been at the Acropolis, the venue is a 3-level venue. You first arrive into a mezzanine floor where you will see a theatre that's open to the public, and that will be actually where the Catalyst Awards will happen on Thursday at 3:30 during the afternoon break. Now, for those of you that have been with us before, we usually used to do it in the Catalyst Theatre. What we've been finding is that each year the theatre just gets a little bit busier than what it can accommodate for the awards. So we just decided to move to a bigger area so that all of you can attend and have plenty of space. And then there's 2 floors where the expo will be happening, which is level 3 and level 2. And I'm going to start from the level 3. And just to give you a sense, if you haven't been to the show, or perhaps if you've forgotten, if you look on the left-hand side of this map, you'll see this area here just next to 300. That is the stairs and the lifts that give access from the floors above and below into the show floor. And if you walk through here through the cafe, that's where the start of the show floor is. Now, in previous years, the Catalyst Theatre, which was actually here in this area next to CC, where my mouse is covering at the moment. But this year, to a better experience, we actually moved the Catalyst Theatre to the show floor. And you can see it here. And that will be where your theatre sessions will be happening. So do remember to pass this to your team so that shall one of your speakers be going to level 3, they don't go and get themselves lost if they're so used at going to the old location. Make sure that you're communicating to your team these new locations. And it can be just as simple as tomorrow going to download this slide deck or telling your team to go and having a look at exactly where the Catalyst locations are. Then next, we do have this red zone, and that's your traditional Catalyst zone with a few of the projects. One of the groupings for these is called IT and Network Transformation, and I'll be going through which catalysts will fall under each topic. But just to give you awareness as we move through that. And then we have level 2, so it's very similar. So you can see here the stairs on this map on the left-hand side. You would walk through what's the work zone, and you will walk through the expo show floor on level 2. Now on level 2, we actually will have 3 areas containing catalysts. Again, if you attended last year as an attendee, or if you attended last year with a catalyst, you'll see the 2 red zones, and they are very similar to the areas that we had last year. The first one here next to 213, that will be our insights and intelligence. And the one here at the bottom next to 222, that will be our digital ecosystems area. Now, what we have different for these years is that there will be a TM Forum dedicated AI zone. So the AI team that runs the work streams for that particular area have chosen 4 projects that most align with their work streams to be presenting at this area. There will be some content regarding the AI, the content that TM Forum is creating, and also some dedicated setups around the AI alongside these 4 catalysts. But the catalyst will still be very near and the nearest to the catalyst zone, so it will all still feel like it's all part of the same village. And with that, I would like to start going through the catalyst placements. So for level 3, for the IT and network transformation, we actually are still finalizing, and we have had some changes to create a better user story for the attendees. So we will be sharing later today a version of these particular projects with a few swaps over, but they will be ready to download and to share with your team. So if you do happen to be in this level, if your project is named here, it will mean that you are on level 3, but it just might mean that your particular placement on the floor might just change slightly. We then go into the level 2, into the insights and intelligence, and all of the projects from now on, they have been confirmed as these particular placements. So after the call today, when the slides do become available, feel free to go and download them and to share the exact locations with your team. And if you do have any questions, then do let me know. Then we do have the AI zone that I was just mentioning. So here it looks like you just have the 4 catalysts by themselves, which is not the case. It's just our team has just sent the CAD planning just to give you an idea of where you will be located. But these area will have other kiosks with TM Forum content and other AI related content as well. But these will be the 4 projects that the team has selected as working within their work stream. And then final but not least is our digital ecosystems area. This will be where we'll have our media telecom catalysts and also our new catalyst type ecosystem catalysts. So alongside our smart cities types projects, they will all be here. Now you'll see that we have projects B1 to B10, but actually if you look at the plotting, there's actually B11. This particular kiosk is dedicated to the Curator FX modeling tool that TM Pharma has as is part of the digital ecosystem. So that's the reason why it isn't plotted here, as it isn't a catalyst kiosk, but it is content of the TM Forum. So with that, we have reached towards the end of the session, and there's just a few things that I would like to cover through with you. So as a reminder, here's our registration and travel slide, which I will leave it up for you guys to have a read if you haven't seen this slide before. And what I'll mention, I already can see that there's been a few questions coming through. So whilst I'll just cover a few last items, do feel free to ask me any further questions now that we've reached the end of the webinar. So the first thing that I would just like to cover is that we are very near having the theatre schedules finalised, and we are hoping to send that to you, the project leaders, before the end of day today. Do have a look, do share it with your team, and do make sure that you start selecting those speakers to go on those times. The Catalyst Awards information that was shared with you earlier on today on this session, make sure that you're downloading it and also sharing it with your team. It's really important. Maybe divide the tasks. Maybe if you do want to apply for multiple awards, then maybe you're engaging different team members within your team to fill that information. Some of the information you would already actually have filled for your project charter. So things such as the innovation or the business impact Catalyst Awards, that information you already would have started exploring the topic in your project charter area. So if you've done that, you can actually go and recycle some of that content and then build on for the award submission. With that, I'm just going to move to the very last points of contact. So as a reminder as well, we will be having that webinar next week, which will be a joint logistics and marketing. We will be covering only 10 to 15 minutes content, and the rest of the webinar itself will be left for questions and answers that the team has. Now, we have shared the links for you to register, but if you actually want to open that to the rest of your team, then feel free to share that. If it will just be a general webinar with just final information ahead of the event, and it will also be just an opportunity for the teams to do ask any questions to our team. And if you're thinking of something that's quite pressing, your question might be another team's question. So whatever silly it is, it actually might be worth asking because it might be that other teams don't have the information either. So do feel free to reach out to us either directly or on the webinar next week, as I mentioned. Make sure that you're getting your teams to register and getting themselves ready. Make sure that you're setting up those dry runs. You do have the help of Alan, Cecilia, Nancy, and Sheng Fen. So feel free that you are coordinating with them for any dry runs that you might need. Make sure that you are coordinating with your team to meet on site on the Monday and to check that everything is in order and run through your demos. Make sure that you're also doing those scheduling ahead of the event. And as I said on earlier on session for the morning folk that attended, I know that a lot of you are working on the solution, and you end up working sometimes on that presentation as you are flying into Nice. But my personal suggestion, don't leave creating that PowerPoint presentations until so late, because then it means that the rest of your team is not being able to prepare their content ahead of the show. So do try to have some sort of at least key learnings or skeleton presentation so that your team can also prepare, even if you are making those last minute updates and finalizing that user story. So with that, I think that we come to the end. I think we've only had one question coming through. And Lisa, I might need to unmute you if that's okay. I'm going to see if you're still here. If you don't mind, I'm just going to unmute you online so that you can, as I'm not quite clear on your question. Hi, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. I know I've asked via email, and forgive me if the answer was sent and I missed it, but is there a virtual show bag for the exhibiting companies? In other words, a non-Catalyst virtual show bag? Or is it only for Catalyst?
So the Catalyst virtual show bag is only for Catalysts.
Right, understood.
Yeah.
But there isn't a show based virtual show bag, is there?
Do you mean, so let's say if you exhibiting as yourselves?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So I think, so I will still suggest for you to email the expo@tmforum.org team. But my understanding is that for those that are actually exhibiting, sorry, my words are not coming out properly today, exhibiting, that you actually can have leaflets and so forth in your area because it's a dedicated area just to yourselves. And that's not the case with the Catalyst. The Catalyst is a shared area amongst many team members with different champions and different participants. So just due to the type of area that it is, we just tend to avoid having all the companies. We have some of the catalysts that sometimes have 3-4 champions and another 3 to 6 companies participating. So if everyone wants to have a leaflet in that area, it just wouldn't fit, and it also would overload a lot the attendee with information. And that's why we choose to send the information post the show.
Right, and I think that's brilliant. I have no issues whatsoever with that. It's just I was trying to understand if, as an exhibitor, which we are, there is some kind of online virtual show bag that we can upload our other standard corporate information. So I don't believe I've had that answer yet, but I will go back to the team on it.
So I don't think that exists for the exhibitors, because I think it's just a
Yeah,
solution.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't think we have that for the sorry, apologies for the exhibitors. However, what I can perhaps suggest to you, and this is just a personal suggestion. What we do is we create our bags and we put them on drop boxes, and we create them with. It goes with a nice email just to say this is folder containing all the information regarding to the catalyst. And what we do is you will also have a scanner at your exhibitor booth that you will be scanning.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And you will also get those leads. So my only suggestion is, if the in-house team would like to do it themselves, you can do your own virtual show bag that you can send post a show to those leads.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we would do. So, okay, that's lovely. Thank you. I'm clear now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And great. So that actually is great because it gives us a little bit more time for a few more questions to come through. So, Arnold, for the slide set, yes, it will be available. I'm just going to update those last level 3 updates in terms of kiosks, and they should be ready. The site should be ready for you to download by tonight. And also the theatre presentations for the Catalyst, we are still going through just a review with our conference team, but we are also hoping to release the final times by the end of day today, and that's something that I'm pushing our teams to get done. For the Catalyst leaflet template, so we won't print the Catalyst leaflet template. So as we mentioned before, we ask for the teams not to have any printed collateral on the Catalyst kiosks. And the Catalyst leaflet is to be part and sent through the virtual show bag. It's a template that we give to the teams so that if the team is not having a lot of marketing resource, or you don't have a lot of time to create these resources, it's just a pre-populated, or let's say a template that we already provided for you, just for you to add information that can be sent to the attendee post the show. And that will be included in the Catalyst virtual show bag, but it would not be printed on site. And for the virtual show bag materials, so if you go and visit your Confluence page, and regarding all to do with the Catalyst virtual show bag, we actually have covered these topics on the marketing webinar last week. So you can go and visit that information page. And just as a reminder, if you go to your actually Catalyst homepage and you look at your navigation bar on the left-hand side, you will see the information page. You can click through there, click through to marketing, and you'll see a listing of all the Catalyst marketing webinars that we've had so far. And we've covered both on the last session and the session previously on where the Catalyst virtual show bag is uploaded, which is your own Confluence space. We've created a page that you can go and upload the documents, and also the guidelines of what you can upload in that particular show bag. And in addition, for that Catalyst leaflet, what it is that the team can input, there's actually a very simple way, if you are strapped for resources, of creating a very effective leaflet for your team, that once the attendee interacts with your content post the show, they know what is your project and what who they should be contacting if they want any further information. And I think that that's all the questions that I had through. I will just give it another minute or two to see if I have any more questions. And as I said as well, just a little while ago, we are 2 weeks from seeing you in Nice. So it's all very exciting. And I hope that your Catalyst work is going really, really well. I'm not seeing any other questions coming through. So I'd really like you to thank you for having attended today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nice in a few days. So with that, take care and bye-bye.